Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Joni Ogg, and on behalf of the travelprofessionalnews.com, home-based travelagent.com, and Find a Host travelagency.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar, and I do so appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us. So today's topic is AI on the horizon, charting the course with Cruise Planners' innovative approach. And to be honest with you, this is one heck of an interesting topic, and I'm really excited about listening to what these gentlemen, our speakers, have to share with us on this topic. And I want to throw out something before I introduce these gentlemen. Yesterday was a really big day for Cruise Planners. I think Scott's going to elaborate on it a little bit, but it was their 30th anniversary. So happy anniversary to all of our friends at Cruise Planners and to you gentlemen. Very exciting, and I'm very proud to have known you guys all the time. It's wonderful. So I want to welcome our speakers. We have top executives with us today, which is really an honor. First off, I'd like to introduce Scott Koepf, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at Cruise Planners and is responsible for driving network growth, leading the training and events. Scott is the Chief Strategy. Now, strategy means strategy. So I've known him a really long time, and this guy is amazing. I'm proud to call him my friend. He's got over 30 years of experience in the travel industry. His motivational training style inspires sales and has earned him a reputation as a very respected industry icon. He is a Lifetime Achievement Award winner and inducted into the CLIA Hall of Fame, showcasing his profound contributions. And Scott's expertise in sales and travel retail operations is dedicated to empowering travel advisors to reach their full potential. And next with us, we have Brian Shultz, who is the Chief Information Officer, CIO, at Cruise Planners, where he leads the development of technological innovations. And under his decade of leadership, Cruise Planners' IT team has expanded into a dedicated department, consistently delivering cutting-edge technology solutions in the travel and franchise industries. Brian's exceptional contributions and visionary leadership were recognized when he was awarded the prestigious CIO of the Year award at the South Florida Business Journal's annual Technology Awards. And working closely with the Cruise Planners travel advisors and the home office team, Brian ensures the creation of seamless and efficient tools that streamline business management processes, cementing his reputation as a tech guru in the industry. And we also have with us today Anthony Burke. And Anthony Burke is the Manager of Operations Training at Cruise Planners, where he leverages nearly 2 decades of travel industry experience to enhance operational capabilities and support home office team members. Starting his career at Carnival Cruise Lines before arriving at Cruise Planners, and eventually leading the care team department. Today, Anthony is committed to leading Cruise Planners' innovative training programs and exploring new technologies in travel. He was recently a recipient of the Cruise Planners Max Performance Award for his outstanding ability to inspire and elevate training standards. So needless to say, we have some very amazing gentlemen with us today, and I'm very excited to hear them speak. I do want to remind you all that you will be muted, but we welcome your questions, of course, at any time. And you just need to put those in the question area you see on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will get to those when the gentlemen have finished with the presentation. And today, one very lucky attendee is going to be awarded a $100 Visa gift card. Now, that gift card will be awarded by Cruise Planners after the event to someone who has remained active and in this program today for the entire length of the stay. So if you're attending, they stay alert and watch, because someone's going to get really lucky when their name is drawn. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Scott, who will be our first speaker. Hi, my friend.
Well, hello, Johnny, and thank you so much for all those wonderful introductions. And of course, my thought is that I'm hoping people are going to want to stay online here, not just to win $100, but because we're going to actually talk about some things that are interesting. So we are excited to be here. As Johnny said, you can kind of see that we've got probably over 70 years of experience in the industry that that's available to you to talk about something that I think is pretty fascinating in that it's really the first time I think that we're not always talking about social media as the only thing we seem to be talking about in this industry when it comes to marketing. But really, this new AI has become a huge subject. And for some folks on the line, it might be something that you're still trying to figure out what it is and how it works, and others you might have some experience with it. But we just wanted to give you kind of an overview and an introduction to AI in general, but then also talk a little bit about technology in general, and specifically what Cruise Planners has built in terms of the programs that we have, and then how we've integrated the two, and how we're not waiting for things to happen. We're not waiting to play things out. We're actually integrating this, and Anthony's going to give us some hands-on demonstrations of how it actually works within our system. But to kick it off, I thought I'd ask a quick question here. You can see here 4 different beautiful pictures. And the way that these pictures were done is by asking AI to create them. So which one do you think was created by AI? And again, if you just take a look at them, you can kind of see that they're all beautiful. They all got Santorini. Well, the simple fact is that we asked AI to create a picture of a couple enjoying the view in Santorini. And all 4 of them were created by AI. And it's just that simple, actually just typing in, as you can kind of see on the screen there, just say, here's what I need, and it typed them out. That's the beauty of AI in a nutshell, and certainly a pretty extraordinary opportunity. But we also have to understand there's still some limitations, and there's still some things that, well, AI is not perfect with, as in that incredibly creepy close-up shot of that couple holding, I don't know how many hands or where the other people are that are involved in this, but there's got to be at least 6 or 7 different people holding hands there. And so obviously AI isn't perfect, and nor will it ever be, so it needs that human element to look at it. But to take us a little deeper and to kind of tell us what artificial intelligence really is and what it's all about, I'm going to turn it over to Brian. And Brian, take it away. Tell us about this AI thing.
Well, thank you, Scott, and thanks to everyone participating today. Artificial intelligence is probably the #1 topic that everybody's asking about, and we just thought we'd kind of lay it out, what it is and what it means for the travel industry. So artificial intelligence, or AI, it's a type of computer technology designed to think and learn like humans do. It's a way for machines to understand, respond, and perform tasks that usually require human intelligence, things like recognizing speech, making decisions, and solving problems. Think of AI as a helpful assistant that can quickly process and analyze information to help you in your work, specifically in creating, planning, and managing travel experiences. So the probably most common question I get asked is, should I fear artificial intelligence? You know, with any new technology, it's very natural to be scared, but the changes over time, and what'll happen is you'll know when we actually go past this fear stage, and then everybody uses it every day. There was a time many years ago where the concept of Google was something that a lot of people feared. Everybody thought, well, Google's going to replace the travel advisor because, well, I could just Google different travel options. And we know, being here, 2 decades plus later, that that's not the case. Google becomes a tool. That's what we expect AI to do for all of you guys. So it's not about really replacing you, it's about empowering you and using travel as the human touch to be enhanced by technology. So a lot of you might be saying, technology and I, we're not the best of friends, but kind of hear us out. We'll talk a little bit about how this is already being used within the travel space. So the first example I want to share with you is a product called Hopper. I don't know if anybody out there uses Hopper, but Hopper actually uses something called machine learning algorithms to predict where airlines prices are headed, so the users need to know how to buy them. So what this essentially means is that there's an algorithm, an artificial intelligence that uses information that's readily available to determine when is the best time to buy an airline ticket. And then that information is then shared with its user base. So if you're a Hopper user, it'll actually tell you the best time to buy a flight. And that's all being driven by an algorithm, an artificial intelligence algorithm. Another one in the flight space is Google Flights. Google Flights is obviously brought to you by Google, and it uses AI to predict delays But the information that's amazing about this is that it's predicting the delays before the information is made available to you as a flyer from the airlines. So it's able to give much more up-to-date information, much more real-time data based on all the information that's out there. And you're not relying on the airline providing it to you. It's actually coming from the actual flights that are taking place in the real world. And now this next example is one that I think is truly amazing. This is Airbnb. And there's a couple things that Airbnb uses artificial intelligence for. First, it's actually rewriting and categorizing the title of their listings using an algorithm. So for example, the scene you see here, beach house, studio house with panoramic sea view, all of that is machine generated. Even the amenities that are being documented here, that it has for example, a hot tub or a beach view or a deck or something like that, that's all being written automatically based on the pictures that are uploaded. One of the things they're doing is it's using predictive pricing, right? It's using different times of year. So when there's obviously seasonal, people visit different Airbnbs, it's predicting the pricing and helping the person who's being the Airbnb renter to help drive the price that will get them the most value for that. But probably the most amazing thing that it does is it offers what's called guest behavior analysis. Now think about this. What it's doing is if you are a consumer trying to book an Airbnb, you're just putting in your information, but what Airbnb is doing is it's actually analyzing you. It's looking at your social media, your presence online to determine the risk factor of you renting that particular property. So these technologies are making, for Airbnb at least, making the categorization of the titles even easier. It's organizing and predicting the prices even better, and it's protecting the listing individual because it's analyzing the behavior of the guests who would potentially rent that location. So what does this mean for travel advisors? Well, I personally believe that artificial intelligence should be thought of just like we started with, as an assistant, a way to make your jobs a little bit easier, to enhance what you're already doing. If there's a task that you've ever said to yourself, boy, I really wish I didn't have to do this. It's so tedious. It doesn't really help me in my selling. It doesn't really help me in my client communication. It's just something that I have to do. That's a great use case for why artificial intelligence is beneficial. But if we look at this next one from Travel Agent West, this is from a few months ago, and it's a little bit hard to see on your screen, but there's a highlight at the bottom there that basically says 2/3, 66%, have not even experimented with artificial intelligence platform. Now, the good news is that means that a third has, but I promise you, if you don't at least become aware of the tools that are out there and how they're going to impact your business, you're going to fall behind. You don't want to do that. You want to be at least aware of what's out there. Now, this is another interesting statistic. We have, do you believe that AI possesses a long-term threat to travel advisors? And you can see nearly a third think there is. And I'm not in this camp. I believe that AI poses a great long-term value to travel advisors. And those who use those tools and empower their business will not only be able to be more efficient, but I think stay ahead of what you're going to find from a lot of your competitors out there. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Scott, and he's going to talk a little bit about what artificial intelligence can do to make your lives a bit easier.
Thanks, Brian. And it is interesting, that last slide that you had, in terms of what the fear factor is of travel advisors and what's going to happen. And of course, as an old guy being in this industry, almost 40 years, is we've all gone through multiple fear factors along the way, right? When commissions were cut by the airlines and the internet came on, and no more brick and mortars, all of the different scenarios. And surprisingly enough, guess who is probably having the greatest time in the history is travel advisors. And I think this is just one more thing that the choice really is whether you embrace it or not. And yes, if we get too afraid of anything, it will probably drive us out of business. But if we embrace it and learn how to use it and take advantage of it, it can make a huge difference in your business. And so one of the ways that I kind of want to talk a little bit about this artificial intelligence, especially the way that Brian described it, is there's really kind of two ways that we can look at artificial intelligence and how it affects, I'll say our lives, but certainly our business also. And what I mean by that is, to some extent, just like Brian said, you're using AI probably right now in a lot of different ways without having any idea. In other words, I'll call that the indirect. So for many of you, you went on to VRBO and you looked at various properties, or you you have gone on to Google and you've done things and have no idea that there is an entire AI process that's happening, I'll say, behind the scenes. So it wasn't that you directly went to an AI system and said, do this, like we showed at the beginning, like create this picture of people holding hands, multiple hands in that case, but of people holding hands, which would be, that's the direct approach. But the indirect is also have a huge, huge impact. Some of which, again, I'll point out as we kind of talk through the overall technology as it affects each of you. And so to do that, we actually teach based on a couple of visuals, and I'm a visual learning, maybe some of you are too. When it comes to technology, you know, technology isn't really just a thing in travel. It is the one thing that really touches probably every aspect of your life, or I should say, can and should affect every aspect of your life. And really the overall point of that technology is to help you become more successful. So it's not just because it's, you know, pretty or it can do something faster or whatever the case is. It really is to overall to give you the resources and to be able to give you what you need to be more successful. And we can call that efficiency to a great extent. And so what we make available at Cruise Planners is really a multi-level technology, not just one thing like a booking engine or a CRM system. The difference is, again, that we've built it thinking about what are all of the elements needed to be successful in this business. And you can see there on the left-hand side, it talks again about that you have kind of an overall vision for your business. We call that the North Star here. And then your unique selling proposition, what's going to be the reason people do business with you, and then setting your goals, your financial goals, how much you want to sell, and then how do you get there? What are your plans and strategies? And then how are you going to make that happen on a day-to-day basis through tasks and habits, etc. So all of that is built to our system. We don't just talk about it esoterically. We actually build that into our system, and everything is tied together in the way that we look at those pieces of your business. And then the really day-to-day part of your business is what's displayed there on the right-hand side. And this really is everything that happens in what we'll call the customer experience, but also in terms of your daily life. This is where a typical advisor is going to spend really the majority of all their time. And that's either in the green section of marketing, using the old school vernacular, getting the phone to ring, which means email, it could be anything else these days. But at the end, it's what are you doing with marketing to let clients know what you do? And then the rest of the white squares is really the sales cycle. What are you going to do to get somebody interested, to qualify them, bring them around, and then have them purchase from you? I mean, you can do a lot of those boxes really well, but as we know, if you don't end up with a deposit, you're not going to make any money. So everything ties together and flows along this process. Well, to get that done and to reach your ultimate goals, there are really 7 challenges that typical advisors run into today. And so I quickly want to run through kind of these 7 different challenges and talk about how we have come up with technology and ways that you can think about how technology can help you overcome some of these challenges as they exist in the world today that we all live in selling travel. And I will make an aside here and say that, you know, really we are in, I think, the best time in history for the travel industry. Now, no doubt, for those of you that have been in this industry for at least the last 3 years, know that we came off the worst time in the history of travel. And the good news is that for Cruise Planners is that we actually use that time to, I'll say, shore up and create even better programs to help overcome what are still some of the challenges out there. So we're at this fabulous time. It's a great opportunity, but it's a competitive business, a business that changes all the time. So you need to have the right kind of resources to maximize your efficiency to get to the kind of success that you're really hoping to get to. And you can see the list there, and I'll walk through this really quickly in terms of how we can help overcome that. So what the first one really, and probably I'll summarize it by saying, if I could summarize one primary skill that allows one advisor to have a lot more sales than another advisor, it's that time management side. So the question really becomes, how do I get more hours into a day? Well, we know we physically can't do that, right? We can't change it up and change how many hours go into a day. But what you do and the way you handle your time is certainly a huge factor in giving you the success you're looking for. So one of the things that we have built into our system, and our system is called CP Max, that we've designed, that is a proprietary system. It is available only to Cruise Planners advisors. And that system is designed, again, with you in mind. And we've designed a task manager. And that task manager is really kind of, I'll call it the to-do list on steroids. And it, again, is so important to have kind of the knowledge, I'll say, of what do you do next? What is the most important thing for you to do next? And that really is the summary of time management. And so we've literally built that into our system. We really don't know of anybody else in the industry or anyone else that has this. You can get time management systems. You can use pieces of Outlook. You can use pieces of other type of software to get to a to-do list. But the key here is that it's in the CP Max system. And so when you look at CP Max, which again is our internal system, what makes the difference is that magical word that just showed up on your screen, and that's the integration. And all of the things that I'm going to be talking about, and as Anthony is going to show you as we get to the end here, is that the beauty is that you don't have to go to some other software. You don't have to sign up for something differently. You're not paying a monthly fee for different things. Everything's integrated, and integration is really one of the keys to time management and the ability to get more things done. So our task manager system does basically your to-do list for all your reservations, all of the potential bookings and the sales opportunities and leads that you're working on, all of your marketing programs. Everything's tied together. In other words, it's fully integrated. So you don't have 14 different spreadsheets and then Excel over here trying to figure out what to do with marketing. And well, how did that do? Well, we really don't know because that's on a different software. Everything's integrated. So integration becomes probably one of the most important keys of technology. Now, I mention all this because I do want to just mention this is kind of what you might call one of those indirect AI scenarios. In other words, when you're doing this, you won't see what's happening behind the scenes. But what's happening in our system is that it knows where to take the information from. If it was a reservation-based task, and it links back to that. If it's a marketing-based task, it links back to that. So it's a fairly simplistic aspect of artificial intelligence, but that intelligence is built into every aspect of what we do in a technology basis. So the next question, how do you keep up and learn new technology? Well, I'll tell you, it's really difficult if you're trying to look at each software independently and then figure out how to have them talk to each other. So instead, again, you're always going to be better served the more of an integrated system that you have, that you're not having to bring on multiple different software scenarios or wondering, again, how I'm going to use something with AI and then how that is going to integrate into all the other things that I have going on with the technology that's happening at such a rapid pace today. So integration is actually the answer to both of those first two issues. And then how do you stay current with pricing changes? Again, we know that that's happening on a regular basis. Once again, is that built into the system? Is it there? And this, again, I'll talk a little bit more about that indirect AI, right? Is that this is the kind of thing that we are building in the background that we don't necessarily talk about. It's not something that we specifically call AI, but it's designed where when you go into our Find a Hotel program, we're going to serve up the best pricing. Well, that's done based on a form of artificial intelligence. Airfare rates, same thing. Cruise line inventory. We know one of the biggest challenges today is not necessarily to find out which is the best product for that customer to go to Alaska, but to figure out the pricing on what's available out there. We all know there's 18 fare codes, there's different offers and programs. And again, the more that we can kind of create that intelligence behind the scenes to serve up and say, hey, this is the best on that date in this cabin category, is what we are building behind the scenes there. And then also you get to the manage the client communications. I mean, at the end of the day, you can have all kinds of great programs, services, software, et cetera, but really it's how do you communicate to that customer to stay in touch with them? And it's really kind of a two-way street there. Part of it is how do you reach them in the way that they want to be reached, the way that they want to talk, and whether that's text, whether it's phone, whether it's email, or all of the above, but also, again, how they get in touch with you, right? And so are you accessible wherever you are? Well, we again have mobile apps. We actually have 2 different mobile apps. We have a mobile app the consumer can use to stay in touch with you and that you can push out information to that consumer. And then we also have an app that's available for your system. And so literally anywhere in the world, if there is a cell service or certainly a Wi-Fi, you're able to get on. You can make bookings, look at every aspect that is part of our technology, the CRM system, everything, which allows, again, you to have that ability to communicate from both sides, from you and to the consumer on the mobile devices that we provide. So again, very important to have that mobile capability as you move forward in this industry. And then the other is virtual consultations. You know, there's no doubt that things have changed quite a bit from the old brick and mortar days when if somebody was interested in purchasing a travel experience, they'd set an appointment, they'd come in, they'd sit at your desk. Reminds me back in the old days that a lot of the training used to be how to read a brochure upside down because the person was across the desk from you and you had to read that. Well, those days are over because, again, you're not sitting across the desk for the vast majority of customers, even if they're local in most cases, because most of our advisors these days, and most of you on the call probably work home-based, you're not necessarily meeting in an office environment. Maybe it's Starbucks, but even so, with that, you're probably not going to be looking at a brochure. You want something more exciting, more visually exciting. And we've created a program called Live Planner, which probably the easiest way to describe it in a sentence is it's like Zoom on steroids, in that Zoom basically just allows you to share a screen and to have a visual of your face and their face talking back and forth, which is very valuable. But imagine if, again, you took control over the screen where you can see what's coming and be able to share various elements from videos to pre-selected information. If you know this customer really into food, you could have a pre-selected set of information that you can send and visual and walk through the visual with them on a live basis. And so, again, we've built this whole system to make that an exciting and different way to communicate with your customer. Well, then how do you compete with the big guys? Well, the one I just mentioned is a big one. You obviously, if you know, you go and you book at, well, I'll say Costco or Expedia or any of the big guys, they're not going to have an ability to really go face to face, sit with you, and then walk you through some great content that's been curated by you for that customer. And so again, it's those little things that allow you to compete and have the resources to be able to do so. Also, the whole scenario I talked about with the task manager and having everything integrated is all of your follow-up can be tied together. All the follow-up is tied to what you need within the Live Planner. All of these pieces, once again, are integrated. And again, that's that kind of indirect AI that's happening that we are building across the scene, behind the scenes, for all aspects of what we're talking about here. Is again, that integration is being able to find the right thing at the right time. So again, it's really important that is accessible. You know, again, Brian mentioned Google, et cetera. I mean, Google is an indirect AI. I mean, there's no doubt today they are starting to pay attention to not only the kind of results that you want, but based on you and based on, as Brian said, by researching and analyzing you, they can bring you more specific information. So again, there is the question that I think Brian answered well, and I'm certainly in the same camp. Is, you know, is it going to replace us? Is this AI going to replace us? And again, if you go back and you think about this, well, booking engines have been available on, let's even talk the cruise industry specifically, for now quite a while, and yet it still isn't a huge piece of the business. The vast majority of even direct booking engines still require a human element. They still have big call centers, they still have personal cruise consultants, et cetera. So while it is certainly improved and the process is much better, there is basically a continued proof of need of that human element. And so technology is not going to replace it. We've already kind of proven that along the way, but the question really is that will AI replace humanity, right? And it's not going to happen, again, for a lot of reasons, primarily, again, that the ability of putting your personal touch into what you do. And so, again, it's the same answer for really how to compete against the big guys as well as, is it going to replace us? It's not, if you build the right kind of relationship and have access to the right kind of resources to make it work for you to stand out and be different in the marketplace. Now, with all of that said, again, it kind of gives you the idea of the importance of the world that we live in from a technology perspective. And I will say that I think it probably is one of the, certainly one of the major pillars that you need to really dig deep on in terms of who you're affiliated with, what you're doing in terms of your business and how you want to grow your business. Is, again, we all have the same amount of hours in the day. And unless you want to work, 12 or 20 hours a day, the idea is how much do you get more out of those hours? And that's going to come from the right technology platform. And again, we have built specifically under Brian's leadership an amazing piece of software. And one of the things that, again, makes us, I think, unique is that we don't wait and kind of look back and see what others are doing. We take the first steps out. As I mentioned, our live planner program, our mobile programs, even the task manager program, all unique in the industry. As I started with the visual, the whole connection of all the things and how they're integrated is what sets us apart. But when it comes to AI, we actually said, well, all right, well, we've got all these things happening indirectly behind the scenes that we're tying all together. But what about how do we use AI on a more direct basis that we can offer out to all of our advisors and say, here's how you can actually see and take advantage of AI on an immediate basis built into our system. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Anthony, who does a fabulous job on our team of really training and understanding kind of how not only AI works, but our overall system. But he's going to walk you through some examples here of how this technology uses AI on a more direct basis right now. So Anthony, take it away.
Thank you, Scott. Greetings and salutations, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Joni, for having us. So yes, I'm here to show you guys what some of the best case uses you can use with artificial intelligence. Here you can see, if some of you that don't know, we are in Chat GPT. Everyone has been talking about it. It's in everyone's feed. This is something that has and that will revolutionize the way that we do business. Now, as you can see right here, what's taking place right now is I'm using a third-party app called VoiceIn. It's a Google Voice extension. And what that extension does, it allows you to speak to any application on the internet, and it will pretty much write all of your words down. Now, I use this for just to be hands-free with a lot of the different applications that I work with. Just like Scott said, we tend to not wait to see what's going on out there before we decide to integrate something into our system. We're very proactive with finding new technology and finding new ways of doing things. Now, as you can clearly see here, I pretty much told ChatGPT to create a proposal for the local Rick Case Holland dealership there in Western Florida. And I wanted it to give reasons as to why it should use me as a Cruise Planners travel advisor. Now, as you can see here, I just had to give it just a couple different things, let it know a couple different things about me. For example, my name is Anthony. I'm a longtime resident of Western Florida, and I'm a proud franchise owner of Cruise Planners. Now, being that I gave ChatGPT the context to what I'm looking to draft, it went ahead and it created all of this lush and helpful information that I can forward over to the general manager at the Rick Case Honda dealership. Okay, you can see here it says streamlined services. By working with me, you can offer clients a one-stop solution for all their travel needs, from booking flights and accommodations to arranging tours and excursions. There's so many different reasons that it would lay out just based on the fact that it knows that I am, or I told it that I'm a travel advisor with Cruise Planners. It's super simple. It's super easy to use. If you're not using it now, I suggest that you guys definitely get on board. If anything, I would tell you guys that the way that we built ChatGPT into our system, we make it simpler even within CP Max than if you're actually on ChatGPT itself. So that's one hint of good news. So those of you that are not familiar with ChatGPT, definitely get to learn it because when you do come over to the Cruise Planners family, which we're hoping that you come to the Cruise Planners family, you'll see that this thing is super, super easy to use. Okay. So
all right, thanks, Anthony. Let's go to the next slide here.
Yes, sir.
and just show a little bit about how it does integrate into our system.
Okay. So what we're doing right now with ChatGPT, on the left-hand side, you guys are looking at a group step-by-step timeline, basically telling you guys, we're telling our advisors the things that you guys need to put together before you're before you're doing a group. So 6 to 14 months out, it says pick a destination, ship, travel date, request group allotment. 14 to 12 months out, plan the agenda, marketing, call to action. So this is pretty much a timeline. And what ChatGPT allows us to do is we can take the information from our CP Genie, our intranet, and we can tell ChatGPT to do something with it. In this particular instance, I'm asking ChatGPT to create a timeline for me that I can use in conjunction with this group's timeline. And this timeline that I'm asking it to create for me is a social media timeline. Now, I know social media is a big pain point for a lot of folks, but ChatGPT, it makes it super, super easy to get ideas for content. You can even describe a picture to it, and it can give you something, it can give you a post based on a picture. So this thing is amazing. And again, we've integrated this into our CP Max system. All right, now if you can see here, I'm giving it again some context. I'm letting it know that I am a Cruise Planners franchise owner. I'm planning a speculative Carnival cruise group, and I want you to create a series of Facebook posts that I can incorporate and to create excitement based on this. So I went ahead and I pasted in that group's timeline, copy, and now paste. And here it is. It's basically giving me a full rundown of what I can post or ideas and things that I can do, again, in conjunction with my cruise group's timeline.
Even includes some really cute little icons. So, you know, you can't beat that.
You can't beat that. Yeah, it even gives me some nice emojis. And if you want, you can copy it and you can paste it. And I remember speaking with one of our franchisees that's like, well, you know, Anthony, I like to write, but I'm not the best writer in terms of like the formatting of a blog. Well, I instructed that franchisee to just use the Voice-In app, which again is a free Google Chrome extension, and you can start your command with rewrite this for me. Use the Voice-In app, and then you can actually speak. You can speak about an experience, and then you can tell ChatGPT to create and turn this thing into a blog for me, or even build a web page for me. So that's another cool thing about this. Now, on the next slide, we're going to look into how we've integrated ChatGPT into CP Max. And what you guys are looking at here, this is the back end of our CP Max website admin. This is where our franchise owners update their bios. And here, I'm pretty much going to tell ChatGPT to create a bio for me and that I can insert on my web page. So let's go. All right, so create a bio for me. My name is Anthony, and I'm a Cruise Planners franchise owner. I can help plan amazing vacations, and I also specialize in romance travel. Be sure to call me before you say I do. All right. Looks good, looks good. All right, so now I'm going to generate content. And again, this is using ChatGPT. And now it has created content for me. My name is Anthony. I'm proud to be a Cruise Planners franchise owner with a passion for creating unforgettable vacations. With years of experience in the travel industry, I've honed my skills to provide exceptional service tailored to your unique needs. There's so much that I've given it a sentence, and it's given me a paragraph. And this is one of the sweet things about Max Intelligence in ChatGPT. And what I love about this thing the most is that this is embedded throughout CP Max. So whether you're creating a blog, whether you're looking to create a proposal from within CP Max, it's all integrated within our system, which I think is super, super, super convenient. Though I love ChatGPT, I use it daily. I can tell you guys that to have the capabilities of ChatGPT within our system is a major, major, major plus. Now, here, what I'm doing right now is I'm actually creating a blog Max Intelligence is going to help me create this blog. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this information here. And I'm going to click on the Max Intelligence icon. And then I'm going to command it to create a blog of the top 10 must-do activities in Lake Como, Italy. Okay, generate content. And as you can see here, it's working. And my content is about to be generated. And what's also convenient is that when the content is being generated, you can edit the content before you actually insert it within the web page, before you insert it within your blog, before you insert it within your email. It just makes it super, super easy to just to get things done within CP Max. All right, looks good. And I think we froze there, did we? Nope, there we go. All right, got 10, conclusion. Okay, looks good. Let's take that out. So again, I can go ahead and I can edit before I actually insert it within my website to be saved, insert content. And you know what? I like what they had there, so I'm going to paste that there. And then now I'm going to go ahead and save. Oop, there we go. All right, so let's take a look. Let's slide over. All right, and there's our blog. So again, super simple, super easy. It's one of those things where it saves you guys a lot of time. And if there's one thing that I've heard over the years from speaking with folks in the travel agent community, is that anytime you guys are saving time, you guys are saving money, right? And I think, and if you ask me, time is worth more than money, really and truly. So we can save you all the time by integrating these tools into our system, then why not? So yeah, let's see what else we got.
Anthony, that's excellent. And again, folks, I want to reiterate a couple of things that Anthony went through here as we wrap this up today. And you know, the reality is that you can see we've built this into various aspects of our business. And maybe the broader way to say it is pretty much anywhere where you have the ability to put in your own copy, right? To put in something in any kind of marketing or communication. So Anthony showed you a blog as an example, which again would be more of a marketing piece. But we also have e-cards, which are like, you know, postcard emails. We've got other communications, just plain emails that are sent out to your customers. And this might be in the marketing time frame. It might be in the sales process that you're trying to convince someone and offer them a little bit more information, but not too much. And then there's the post-sale, but prior to departure communications. You want to tease them up over a period of time with special and things to do and all kinds of different scenarios that you can look at and you're thinking, you know I got to stay in touch with my customer. I'm just not sure what I can write next or what information I can share. And literally, as you can see there, and I hope you saw the little icon, we've got our little Max there, who's our mascot of our technology, but it's called Max Intelligence. And so it's not just one place that Max Intelligence lives, is that it's been built into pretty much anywhere and everywhere, including your website, as Anthony showed you, blogs, and then also emails and marketing pieces, where again, you can use that ability. But I think the other thing that Anthony mentioned is that you still need to edit it, right? And it's still very important to take that time to edit it. Otherwise, you're going to find, again, somebody holding hands with 12 other people. It gets a little mixed up sometimes. And sometimes you just might say, well, I don't want to share all that information at this point. I'm going to hold some back. So you just take pieces of it. But think of the savings of time that you're not, and again, the beauty of putting it into the system is instead of having to go somewhere else, create it, and then pull it over and then copy and paste, it's all built right into our systems. You go in, you put in the prompts as Anthony did, asking and saying, oh, this is kind of the information I want you to share. It creates it. You go in, you edit it, boom, out it goes. So again, to Anthony's point again, it is all about the time. It's about the time savings. And again, we all, even if you consider yourself a great writer, it's just the time it takes to write. And if, and again, you start thinking about doing this over and over with multiple clients, it gives you such a great ability to do this faster, very professional with great content. So again, all of technology, including the artificial intelligence and including all of the other aspects that I talked about of integrating all the elements of what's available today from a software perspective, CRMs to booking engines to marketing, all being integrated, is that it really is the key to success. I'll say is that certainly there are a lot of other elements to it, and we are a business that's all about the personalities, but how do you get your personality to shine? And that really is going to come through the technology. So I want to just kind of wrap this up, and then I'll be turning it back over to Joni about any questions that maybe some of you have typed in along the way here. But we do want to let you know that sometimes in the franchise world, people say, oh, well, it's a franchise, it's too expensive. But first of all, if you're thinking about affiliating with a host and that you're not with one currently, our first suggestion is do your research across the board. But I think you'll find that in particular when it comes to technology, and I'll say, other elements too, the support services, the marketing, et cetera, that we are really in a class by ourselves. And one of the things that sometimes scare people away is they say, well, you have the best technology, you got this and that, but wow, your franchise must be very expensive. Well, I want you to know that, again, we have a program that even is for free, right? Is that if you have a book of business and you're doing that book of business that you own, certainly we will offer a free ability to come in and become a franchise. But if you don't have a large book of business, again, we have a very significant discount for someone who's already in the business, which I'd say for the most part is almost every one of you on this call. Just by having Joni invite you on here means that you're in the travel industry. So we have a significant discount. You can click on the QR code there to get a little more information and then to reach out. And again, we've got a website that will answer a lot of your questions. We'll dig a little deeper into a few of the things we talked about today, but really give you a lot more information around some of the other pillars of how to distinguish the difference between what hosts offer, and we are a host by definition, even though we're a franchise, and the franchise just gives us a huge advantage of having a major brand that again gives you the credibility with your customers, not to mention the incredible buying power that we offer with that. So again, reach out to us. We've got folks that again would love to talk to you, answer any additional questions that you might have about becoming a franchisee with Cruise Planners. But in the meantime, let me turn it back over to Joni and see what questions we may have come up around our technology and artificial intelligence. So Joni, back to you.
Thank you, Scott. Gentlemen, this was wonderful. Great information. ChatGPT is something. We've used it a few times, rewriting one of our books and trying it on some of the chapters. It's frightening how smart it is. But one of the things that always makes me laugh is Tom will send it to me for editing, and I'll go, okay, did you say that or did chat say that? So important thing is to always remember that you need to edit. And one of the people that wrote in here said, okay, editing and ensure it makes sense. Check. Okay, so Marissa, you got it there, but that was well done. But a couple other questions. I thought this was fascinating, and thank you, gentlemen, for this, because I think a lot of people have a lot of questions about it and don't really know what it's about. And you really took us through it, Anthony, especially. You really took us through how to do it and what it can do. So that was wonderful. So what did you say? Someone asked, what did you say was the name of the Chat GPT app you were using? I think, Anthony, in the very beginning.
The voice in. It's actually a Google Chrome extension.
Okay.
And it can be, yeah, you can download it for free. You can Google, voice in Google Chrome extension. You add it to your Google Chrome. It works in Outlook. It works, on just about almost any site. It works in CP Max. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's
awesome. Thank you. Okay. Are there any
Thank you.
grammar or spelling mistakes within ChatGPT?
Well, I'll let maybe Brian or Anthony do this, but I'll guarantee there probably are mistakes. So that's, again, coming back to your point, Johnny, why you need to edit, why you need to look. Of course, there's still going to be the spell checker in most of these programs that where the results reside, right? So again, you just always need to do a double check before you just send something out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think, we do that with everything, right? We have to do that with your regular emails. If you don't read them, you never know what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Typically, the grammatical part of it is pretty well done. So you're not going to see like overt grammatical errors. The thing I'd be more concerned about, and Anthony touched on it, and so did Scott, is this concept of called hallucination, where the AI sometimes makes stuff up. And that's because it's trained on information from the internet. And sometimes, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but it could be wrong on the internet. So sometimes it generates content that's a little funky. So it does require you to review it, but grammar is usually pretty good. It's the content you really want to pay close attention to.
And just to piggyback on what Brian was saying is that, yes, definitely the grammar, but I don't know how many like Spanish speaking of travel advisors we have out there, but this thing can convert into multiple different languages. So if you speak like Spanish, I would still say look at it, proofread it, and edit it before you send it. But again, even through CP Max, it can translate into almost any language.
That's amazing, just amazing. And then someone asked, is access to Max Intelligence included in the franchise fee?
It certainly is, and that's, again, one of the benefits that we have is that we've noticed there's a few folks that have come out and said, oh, we're going to have AI, and for only a modest additional fee. And I'll say that ours, and what you saw there and what Anthony was doing on those programs, is not something we're thinking about doing. These are in place and have already gotten usage. And actually, I'll turn it over to Brian. Brian, we launched this, maybe a month and a half ago, and we've already had an unbelievable number of usages, right?
Yeah, we launched it about 6 weeks ago, and people have used it well over 10,000 times in
Oh my
6
goodness.
weeks.
Wow.
It's the volume of it is surprising even to us. And what's really interesting about it is the different use cases we're seeing from the advisors, right? So some of them are using it to, like you were describing, Joni, review something and summarize it, or change the format of it. And other people are using it to help plan itineraries, ask about excursions in different locales. And one of the things that wasn't represented in the presentation, but I do want to mention, is that we also support the latest and greatest versions of ChatGPT. So the earlier versions were information only up to 2021. We now have ChatGPT 4 built into our platform at no additional cost, just baked into what you get when you come to Cruise Planners, and that will stay current with anything that comes out from OpenAI, the company who creates ChatGPT.
Wonderful. Okay, I did have one more quick follow-up question, if you don't mind, Anthony, about that voice in. Is that something that's in the CP software, or is that just a Google tool?
As of now, it's a Google tool, but
okay.
I did submit it to our ideas team, so we'll see what happens.
Actually, Anthony, I hate to interrupt you, but we actually just introduced today a voice-to-text tool built directly into CP.
Awesome!
Wow.
Oh my.
That was a little bit of a surprise because we haven't announced it to our network yet, but you guys will hear it first. It came out just this afternoon.
Oh wow!
Well, that's exciting. That's awesome. Wow, that's great. So
it's very exciting,
say,
especially if you've got fingers that are the size of sausages like mine, and so you type about 1 4 minutes. So it's kind of scary how much I can be able to jabber at my computer now.
Mm-hmm.
That is incredible. Though we don't have really any more questions at this point. I just have to make a comment. As Scott and I've been friends for a really long time. We've been in this industry about similar years, I think. And I think I've just noticed through these years what Cruise Planners has done in terms of technology has just always been just always on the top, always on the cutting edge. I remember when you guys were the first ones, I think, that came out with a mobile app for clients to be able to book travel from their phones with their advisors. I believe you guys were the first to do that. I mean, you always seem to be doing what everybody needs to know for the next, what's coming next. And I really applaud you guys on all of that. And your tech team has got to be just amazing. I don't think we have any more questions, but I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, gentlemen, for this information. And thank you, audience, for listening in and being so attentive. I hope everybody learned as much today as I certainly did. I don't know if you guys want to say your farewells, and then we'll close this one down for the day.
All righty. Well, first of all, I'll say a pre-congratulations to whoever's going to win $100 out there. So congratulations to you. Hopefully, you also found this exciting and interesting. Again, you know, we believe in helping all travel advisors, and if you're happy with the home you're at, we hope you stay there. But we hope we've given an idea of what makes cruise planners so different. And you know, to Joni's point, the technology is really extraordinary. We are cutting edge, and again, we're driven to constantly improve it. I think it's hilarious that you know, again, as we were talking about this voice scenario, and you know, it's I'm surprised. Probably, you know, when Anthony brought it up 10 minutes ago, Brian probably put it in the system, and that's why he announced that it's ready, because it's just we can do things that fast, and it really is fun to be part of the system that cutting edge. And again, I think that's the most direct path to success. So thank you all for being on. We really appreciate your taking the time to be with us.
Thank you to everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you, Scott, Brian, and Anthony, and really appreciate everything that Cruise Planners has done and for being here with us today. Everybody have a great rest of your afternoon and almost happy February. See you later.